Tzadi base, Shara Harata, the gate of remorse. A Harata, Hisha Oise Odom Devar, V'chozer bo umisnachem al ha'maaseh. A person does something, and then he retracts from it, and he regrets having done it. Hiderach yashara me'od li'inyan tshuva. It's a very straight, correct, proper approach having to do with tshuva. Kimi shechota umischaret, somebody who transgresses and then retracts, regrets what he's done, ki'ilu lo chata. It's as if he doesn't transgress. Now, it's not as simple as that, of course. If the transgression was stealing from somebody, it's not going to help to say, I'm sorry. You've got to make restitution and pay the person back. But if a person transgresses something between he and Hashem, and he truly regrets, so Hashem accepts that and clears the person's slate. It's impossible to fulfill the mitzvah of tshuva without harata. Without regret for having done this, a person can't really do tshuva. I mean, and it's not enough just to say, I'm sorry, I feel bad about it, if you're not sorry and you don't feel bad about it. But if a person truly feels bad and regrets having done this, then that's the precursor for tshuva, without which it's a non-starter. He'll never be forgiven for his transgressions if he doesn't have regret over having done them. He can bring all the sacrifices in the world. If it's not accompanied by tshuva, it's not going to help. And he can pay lip service to Hashem from the morning until the evening, but if he doesn't mean it, it's just empty speech. Gam hatfila eno mekubeles zulas harata, and his prayer is also not going to be accepted without remorse. Ki ech yomar, what is he going to say? Slach lanu avinu ki chatanu, forgive us Hashem for we have transgressed. Kisheinu mischaret al hatav, when he doesn't feel bad about it. Forgive me for transgressing. I don't really care that I've transgressed, but forgive me that. Okay.
Why would you want to?
Yeah, shouldn't you miss it out?
I'm sorry, what would you say? Why would he do that?
Yeah, why would you?
Just because that's what it says in the liturgy.
And it's also suffering.
That's what it says in the tefillah. It says, Slach lo avinu katanu. So, I'd really like to be in Hawaii right now. He's saying, yeah, Slach lo avinu katanu. No. But he's really thinking about, I want to be in Hawaii right now. It has nothing to do with what he's saying. He's just saying it, just paying lip service for it, just praying because you're supposed to pray, but not that he really cares about it. And even if he is thinking about what he's saying, very often people say, forgive me. Forgive me, I didn't mean it. He's lying. We do that sometimes. Forgive me, I didn't mean it. What I'm saying is, forgive me for getting caught. And since I was caught, I have to say that I didn't mean it. But I'm, looking forward to the next opportunity to swindling you. Yeah?
And not get caught.
Hoping, with the intention of God to getting caught next time. Right? Yeah.
Should one say vidui if he's not really in that state of mind that he's...
Arguably, yes. Arguably, better not to say vidui than to say it when he doesn't mean it. And part of vidui is doing vidui over vidui that we didn't mean. Yeah? Part of vidui includes saying vidui when we don't mean it.
Yeah, but you just said there's no point saying it if you don't mean it.
Right, so it would be better not to say it.
Oh, it's better not to say it.
Yeah. So arguably better not to say it. If you know you don't mean it, better not to say it than to say it and not mean it. If you don't really mean it, but you kind of mean it a little bit, so then at least say it to the extent to which you mean it. And hopefully, that'll help you jumpstart to really mean it.
So what does it mean to really mean it?
We also do tshuva not really meaning it, because even when we think we really mean it, we spoke about it the other day, that the Tzaddikim do tshuva ban tshuva. They do tshuva on the fact they did tshuva. How does that work? They did tshuva in the fact they didn't do tshuva properly. So why not do tshuva properly the first time? Because given the level after the transgression, they understand the magnitude of the transgression to this extent. After the tshuva, now they realize on a higher level, they realize the greater magnitude, so they have to do tshuva upon tshuva. Tshuva on what they didn't do tshuva on, and tshuva on the fact that they didn't do tshuva properly the first time around. So that they live, so that the tzaddikim are constantly living a life of tshuva upon tshuva upon tshuva. But, each person has to try and mean it as much as they can, knowing that we can't fully appreciate what we've done wrong, and therefore we don't fully make amends for what we've done wrong. But that doesn't exempt us from trying. But if we say, look, I know that God says it's wrong. I'm not sure, but I'll give God the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it's wrong. I'm sorry. Yeah?
Is that really regret?
What?
Doesn't sound like regret. No.
It's excuse me for saying so, half-assed.
You can be sorry for something but not feel bad about it.
You can feel, you can be sorry, not feel bad about it. Yeah. No, I'm just pointing out that there are degrees, and that's what we're like that. We're like, it's true, it's bad, but Hashem understands. I'm sorry, So we lessen for ourselves the magnitude of what we've done wrong because we take the liberty to factor in that God is like okay with it. What kind of business is that? We don't have the liberty to make that decision. Yeah.
So you're saying, let's say I do something wrong, I wronged somebody, but I don't know how to say sorry to them, but like I really do feel bad in my heart. Like God, knows. I mean, God can recognize that you feel bad. That's what you're saying.
I don't think that I think the author is saying that. I don't think I said it, but what you're saying sounds to be right.
That's what you read right here.
Yeah. Part of it, what he says here is that that a person has to feel it in his heart. But again, in the scenario that, in the scenario that you're talking about, it's true that the person does actually feel remorse, and for whatever reason can't communicate that to the other person. But they've actually tangibly harmed that person. Then, even though God realizes the true felt sorrow in their heart, the person will be, I guess, will be favorable in God's eyes for that. He still hasn't made restitution for the way he's wronged that person, and that's going to hang over the person's head.
But I'm saying that person may not have recognized it because you didn't tell him you were sorry, but God recognized it in a way.
Yeah, but part
in
of
a way,
that's true. But it's only partial, like you're saying. In a way, it's partial because to the extent to which the other person knows that I've wronged him and doesn't know that I feel bad about it, he still has grievances.
But it's still something to feel
Yes.
bad. It's still something
Yes.
to feel bad.
Yes.
In God's eyes.
Yes. In such a case, I would say so. Yes. We were. I was. What you're saying is part of the text, and I had gone away from that, talking about scenarios where we say we're sorry when we don't. You're talking about feeling sorry though we don't express it.
Yeah.
They're both relevant. Yeah. So, but your point is a good point. But still, if we feel regret and we don't express it, and we can, then we're still falling short of the mark.
But if you can't, it's not like you'll say, oh, why should I feel bad? It's not like I'm going to say sorry anyways. Like, I never fall through to say sorry, so I shouldn't even feel bad. No, but it is still something.
Yeah, I think it's still something.
To feel bad.
I think it's still something if you generally feel bad about it. But if you could communicate that to the person and you choose not to, then you're going to be, then the person's going to be held accountable for that. You're required to apologize. You're required to make restitution to that person. You're required. That's part of the tshuva. Part of the tshuva is rectifying the wrong that you've done. So if you've wronged him, it's not enough just to feel bad about wronging him. You have to placate him for the way in which you've wronged him. Right? If you've wronged him but he doesn't know, you might not be required to let him know, right, in order to placate him. That's a discussion. Whether it's enough just to feel remorse for what you've done because he doesn't, without telling him, because he doesn't know what you've done anyway. And it's not like you have to, it's an area where you have to tangibly, let's say, make recompense in some way. Another interesting kind of discussion is if you've wronged somebody but you don't know who, or you've wronged the community but you don't know, you can't pinpoint any specific individual. You're required to do tshuva and make practical means to benefit people in general. So, for example, if a person's stolen from somebody, or he's somehow taken from the public in some way, there's no way he can make restitution to the individuals who he's harmed. So what he's told to do is to feel remorse in his heart, to do tshuva, and also to take practical means to benefit the community in some way, that perhaps people who he harmed in some way will get benefit from what he's done, and therefore in this way he makes restitution. So for example, he could use his money to set up a mikvah, or a bathhouse, or something that provides for the communal needs, with the hope that people who he's harmed will get benefit from what he has charitably set up for the benefit of the community, and this way makes restitution to the people that he's harmed. So the author here continues, Mashal v'zedome lemelech, can be compared to a king, she'ovdo sarach alav, his servants went bad on him, u'mevakesh mechila me'esemelech, and he asks forgiveness from the king. If the servant doesn't really have remorse in his heart, and he goes back and repeats this rebellious act again and again every day, the king will be even more upset. Better that you not say you're sorry and then do it again and again and again. And so too, somebody who has stolen from other people, and then he goes to the king and he says, forgive me for stealing. And he goes back and steals. So it's like, don't steal and don't say you're sorry. You steal and you say you're sorry, you steal and you say you're sorry. Don't steal and don't say you're sorry. I had a conversation with somebody. It was more of a correspondence with somebody recently. And after each correspondence, the person said, I apologize for being rude. I apologize if you're being nasty. I apologize if... So at some point I said to them, you're being rude. Don't be rude and don't apologize. Just be civil. The person apologized. That's the point. It's like, so don't transgress and don't say you're sorry. Transgress, you're sorry. Transgress, you're sorry. Such a servant will certainly incur the wrath, the anger of the king, in his requesting of forgiveness. It's audacious to ask forgiveness. What you transgress, forgive. Transgress, forgive. So it comes a point where even when he says, I'm sorry, it angers the king. Right? Saying, God, when it's not sincere, that's like I say, don't transgress and don't say I'm sorry. I'm indignant over the fact that you're apologizing. Therefore, a person has to have regret, remorse, and pray, and confess, and think that he's not going to do this again. And what if he knows he will?
Don't say sorry.
So, I think it depends. If he really, sincerely does feel bad about it, and he really sincerely accepts upon himself that he's not going to do it again, even though he knows for sure he's going to do it again, that's okay. We're not talking about that. We're talking about a person who doesn't care and doesn't intend to change and says, I'm sorry. Right? But on Yom Kippur, every year, we come before Hashem and we say, I'm sorry, I've done X, Y, and Z. I'm not going to do it again. And then he thinks to himself, wait a minute, I said that last year. And come to think about it, I said it the year before. And the year before. And the year, yeah? The same thing every year. X, Y, and Z. This year, last year, the year before. So you know what? Next year.
Might be his last one.
Yeah, might be his last one. Let's hope it's not his last one. He might next year says, you know what? I can't rely on myself to have this remorse and my acceptance to not do it again to be enough of a safeguard. I'll do it again like I did last year and the year before. So I won't be sorry. I won't do tshuva on it. I'll do tshuva on something else. Taking my friend's pencil. But X, Y, and Z is too big for me. I can't handle it. No, that's wrong. If you sincerely feel bad about it and you sincerely want to be in a scenario where you won't do it again, you should. You're encouraged. We must do tshuva, even if we know kimat for sure that we're going to do it again. Because right now, he generally doesn't want to do it again. Right now, he feels regret and he generally doesn't want to do it again. That's tshuva. Even if a week after Yom Kippur, he goes back to the same thing again. Yeah.
There's been times where I've stopped transgressing for like, let's say, a week because I've forgotten about it. And then once I get to the point where, oh wow, I should do teshuva on this because I'm not doing it anyway, so I might as well do teshuva. Once I start doing teshuva and I start thinking about it again, and then you want to do it again. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Thank you for being so honest, and it's a very interesting point. Perhaps dwelling on the transgression kind of rekindles our interest in it. And, a person might find that as he's transgressing in the midst of remorse over doing it, it conjures up images in his mind about it, and his vidui turns into a replaying in his mind of what he's done and a desire to do it again. So arguably, it would be better not to do tshuva and just keep its ugly head down. Yeah, keep the dirt underneath the carpet. But once you start shaking the carpet around, all of a sudden the room becomes full of dust again. Yeah. Still, if a person has transgressed and he hasn't done tshuva over it, then he has to try and confront it. And even if he's challenged by it stirring up his interest in it again, that'll be part of the value of the tshuva. Is despite feeling the interest in doing it right now, again, he says, no, I'm here to do tshuva and not to think about it. I'm going to do tshuva on it. Once he's done that, if it's held on the back burner, underneath the carpet, even if it's there, and he's concerned that if he revisits it, it can bring out those skeletons from the closet, better probably not to address it again. You've done tshuva, let it lie. Let it lie. It's probably better not than to revisit again and again and again in the spirit of what I said earlier about doing tshuva, ban tshuva, on tshuva. There again, probably the schar would be lost by the hefsed. The schar of readdressing it would be lost by by opening that can of worms again. So it'd be probably better to leave it lie low. It's an interesting question. Yeah. Then his prayer will be accepted. Somebody who does, on the other hand, something good, and then he regrets having done the good deed, that's bad. So good regret is when you're regretting the bad. Bad regret is when you're regretting the good. You have to be careful that you're not going to regret the good things that you've done, so that you don't lose your reward. If you gave some poor person charity, and afterwards he made you angry in some way, be careful not to regret the good that you did for him by giving him the charity. Since it was your intention when you gave the charity to do God's will, your reward is guarded for you, and you can lose that if you regret having given to him just because now he bad-mouths you. What you did good, and what he's doing now is something else. Yeah. On the contrary, by not regretting giving it to him, even though now he is being rude to you, you're probably amplifying the quality of that giving. I was in a similar situation of this recently. I went to the post office and there was a long line of people. And that's not common in Israel, of course, to have to wait long lines to get to the post office. But it happened to have been that I was waiting. There were long lines. So I decided I would wait the line and took a number and waited my turn. Somebody came in and he saw the long line, he saw the number, he saw the thing. And he says to me, listen, I just have to pay some charity organization, some charity, and I can't wait in line. If you're waiting in line anyway, if you don't mind, take the money from me and you can pay the post office. I'll give you the account that you should pay it into. So I don't know why initially I was not entirely thrilled about it. I guess I felt myself I've been waiting here for 20 minutes already. My turn is finally showing up. And this guy just pops in and wants to take advantage of the fact that I've been here for 20 minutes waiting by having me do for him, his thing. And I realized that's mean. What does that have to do with it? Just because I made the decision to wait 20 minutes for me, that means I have to make him wait 20 minutes for him? On the other hand, I thought to myself, well, it's not really entirely fair because, other people have been waiting here for 20 minutes as well. And if I take what he wants and the next guy, before you know it, it'll take me 15 minutes to do what these people would have to wait for, and I'm causing the other people who have waited to also wait. So I was kind of like, in a minute or two trying to decide whether I should or whether I shouldn't. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like letting a person butt in line in front of you. I don't mind, but ask the people behind me, because it's not just me that you're butting, you're butting them as well. So I thought to myself, so you know what? He wants to give money as a charity. It doesn't seem like it's going to be that long. And so I said, okay, I'll do it. A mitzvah, right? I helped the guy out, a mitzvah. So I took the money and it took my turn. I said, what should I do first, my thing or his? So I said, you know what? I'll do his first. Charity, I'm doing a mitzvah. I want to give precedence to the mitzvah for him, to help him, the charity that he's doing. I'll do his thing first. So I gave the money, and the clerk kind of processes the thing or whatever. Took, maybe a half a minute. Just as I started to deal with the thing that I wanted to do, which was to send a book in the mail. I wrote a book, so I sell the book and I mail it to different places. I buy the envelopes at the post office with the postage and have the post office send it. And just as I say I want envelopes, the person in the counter next to me asked for envelopes. And the clerk took the envelopes and gave it to the other person. So I said, I like the envelopes. So she opens up the cabinet and there are no envelopes. The last package. I'm like, wait a minute. What just happened here? I did the guy a good service by helping him. Also, I wanted to help do the tzedakah. Also, I preceded his needs before mine. If I had done mine before his or not taken his thing at all, then I would have gotten the envelopes. Now, I walked all the way over here in all of the heat, waited 20 minutes in order to get in line, and I don't have the envelopes, so it was for naught. Right? It was
They didn't have any envelopes there.
No.
Their post office.
No, I'm just the second before I asked for the envelopes, the person next to me asked for envelopes, and they got the last package. These are special large mailing envelopes for books. So, I was about to take my keep off, right? Give up. God, how could you do that? Okay, I'm being facetious. It's a relatively small thing, but it took me a while to walk there. I was hot and sweaty, waiting there for 20 minutes. Like I said, did this guy the favor, did the charity, and even had his thing go first. And as a result of that, all of what I did went to waste. Why? Because there's no point for me to be there if I don't have the envelopes. I have to come back another day. Here's an example. I started to regret. Yeah. And then I said to me, no, you can't regret doing the good deed. You had a good intention, right? You should not regret. What you did, you did. You helped the person, you gave the charity, and if this other person needs the envelopes and they got them, maybe min shamayim, it all worked out so that they should get the envelopes and not you, because for some reason it might be more urgent for them. So, as it turns out, just as I said to myself these thoughts, the person who was hoarding the envelopes said to the clerk that she bought the envelopes, I only want one, and there's a package of two. Can I just buy one? And she says, no, you can't break a package. They're sold in packages of two. So I said, I need one. How about you take one and I'll take one? Perfect solution. Perfect solution. So I realized that all of this delay was not that she should get the envelopes and that I wouldn't.
She shouldn't get what?
Yeah, that she should get what she needs and that I should get what I need, because I would have taken two and she wouldn't have had.
Right. And you didn't need to.
I would have taken two. I would have taken two. She only wanted one. She only wanted one. So this way, Kadosh Baruch Hu orchestrated the whole thing, right, in a way that everybody got exactly what they wanted, and everything was good, and everybody was happy, right? The perfect example of this type of thing.
You learned the lesson.
What's that? Yes, you learn the lesson. Yeah. I know the lesson, but I had to remind myself of the lesson. Baruch Hashem, as I reminded myself of the lesson, I overheard her saying, I really only want one. Can I break a package? She says, no, you can't break a package. They come in packages of two. And I know that's the case. You can't break a package. But it turns out we were both there simultaneously needing one envelope each. I needed at least one, so I took the one and she took the other, and everything was solved. So you see, there's no point in remorse and realizing that everything comes from Hashem. Even if things didn't work out as they're supposed to, you have to realize that they work out exactly as they're supposed to. Exactly as they're supposed to. Yeah. So where are we holding here? Not regretting, therefore, the good things that we've done. I think we just finished the first paragraph, right? Let's start the second one. Hamid hazois megun meod etzel ha'olam kshe'ein adam kayem be'inyan shelo kshe'omer hayom davar u'mischaret l'machar ve'eno omer b'diburo. Remorse, regret, is also takes a very negative form when people make promises that they don't keep. Kshe'hu noder, when he makes an oath, lis anos, to fast, or l'tet tzedakah, to give charity, or little Torah, to learn, u'mischaret, and then he regrets having done so. Zo mida ra, it's even worse. Not only is he not living up to his word, he is reneging from the good things having to do with mitzvahs. Even though it's good to regret the bad, tov u'la'adam la'amid atzmo shelo yitztarech l'shonos miminig leminig b'mida lemida. It's better that a person not put himself in a situation where he's got to retract and rechange and all of these types of things. Zoe tachlis atov. That's the best form of good. Sheyachshov benafsho v'givrar haminig v'hamidois atovois lahanhig nafsho behen. To be constantly weighing out and making proper decisions about what he should be doing, so he doesn't fluctuate and vacillate, constantly changing courses. V'yachshov al kol ma sheyaseh, thinking always about what he's going to do. Im yochal ha'amod bo, if he can actually fulfill it or not. Az yispos bo, then he should take it. Va'al yidaleg miminig leminig, and not jump from whatever one form of behavior to another, constantly zigzagging because a person can't properly weigh out what he promises and what he can realistically do. It's very bad to be a vacillator. And it's also disrespected in the eyes of the world. Even if he's changing from one good approach to another, but he's not consistent. Because there's no tangible consistency what he's doing, and nobody can rely on him, even if he's vacillating between two good things. But make up your mind, either this or that. But I can't read you. I can never rely on you. Sometimes this, sometimes that. Ben Adam, he says, Shuv ba'od shecharata shelcha, repent while you can, va'al te'acher ad bo'acha lekaver, and don't wait till you get to the grave. Because then, even if you regret, it's not going to help. Only when you're alive. You did something against your friend. Remorse, and then go and appease him. And if your friend transgressed against you and he remorses and he asks for your forgiveness, accept it. Even if you're not sure whether he is entirely sincere, accept it. Unless, of course, you think he's conniving and he wants to stab you in the back, then you have to be careful. I want to finish this paragraph. Even if he's just trying to neutralize the animosity between you, but it doesn't really mean he's sorry, accept it. If you've rebuked him to the point where he has animosity against you, as David says, those who rise against you, I will fight against. Don't have remorse over that conflict, because you've put him in his place rightly. If you say, I'm sorry, when you rightfully rebuked him, but you feel bad about the animosity, and then you apologize, you're going to be strengthening his wickedness. Yes? Kind of like giving more millions of dollars in the name of humanitarian aid to those who have already used it to build bunkers. Remorse is good for all good deeds. If he goes without learning Torah, he should have remorse over that. And correct this by going back to learning as much as possible. If he becomes weak in the intention of his prayer, realize this, regret it, try and go back to praying properly, and think how I've wasted this opportunity on insignificant things. rather capitalize on the power and the importance of prayer. V'migia liyomim yischaret meod asher avru yomov b'lo avodas habois barach. And if this has happened in the old age, he should regret having wasted his youth, when in his prime he could have used all of his power for the passion of Hashem, and he wasted it on other things. But still, it's never too late to do tshuva. Even though we're running short on time, I still want to finish this last short paragraph. Klal godol tikach biyodecha. Take a general rule. Tachshoiv b'levavcha al kol devar shasisa. Consider all that you've done. Kol mitzvah shelo nizharta bo, or any mitzvah that you didn't take seriously enough. Tischaret al kol echad b'fnei atzmo. Regret each one. V'tachshoiv v'tiskotet b'libecha. And think about and grapple within your heart. How is it that I didn't run after the will of God? And how could I leave and depart from the words of the sages and their straight teachings? And such regret, therefore, will be a way of rectifying all of the mitzvahs, those he transgressed, those which he didn't do properly. They tell a story about, I believe it was the Chavetz Chaim, who was seen to be uncontrollably crying on Yom Kippur, and they couldn't imagine what such a righteous person should be crying so much about on Yom Kippur. What could he possibly have done that was so severe to warrant such regret? And afterwards, someone asked him, and he said he has a ledger of all how he spent every day of the entire year, and there were 5 minutes that he couldn't account for. And he was very upset about those 5 minutes, not knowing how he used them. That's intense. Yeah, we're not on that level, but we can nevertheless use that as an example for something perhaps that we could aspire towards on our level. All right, let's end here.